In this guide, we're going to launch the Scroll SDK. We're also going to learn how customization is possible. And we're also going to deploy smart contract and see what comes out of the box on the SDK. So let's get started. We're going to deploy now the Scroll SDK DevNet, which means it's a local version of both a local layer 1 and layer 2 on your machine. And we're going to be deploying on Linux. If you want to deploy either on production or on DigitalOcean or in Amazon Web Service, you can find the guides on the official documentation at docs.scroll.io on the SDK tab, or also you can head over to the Level Up platform at levelup.xyz for specific guides. Okay, let's get started by installing the dependencies, and let's start by installing Make. I'm going to be using a virtualized Ubuntu on my machine, as you can see. I'm using VirtualBox just to show a totally fresh start from an Ubuntu LTS 2404. Okay, so let's start by installing Make. And next we're going to install Docker. And as you know, the Scroll SDK uses a lot of containers and is done using Kubernetes to be able so you can customize it in a very easy way, and just to make it easy to orchestrate deployments and manage. So we're going to be looking at that in this guide. You're also going to need kubectl to interact with your Kubernetes setup. Also Minikube. Since we're using the Scroll DevNet, we're going to interact with our local Kubernetes on our local machine. Also Helm. Helm will help us orchestrating the charts that handles all the specific parts of the system. And now this is optional, but I will highly recommend you to install the CLI tool, the Scroll SDK CLI tool. So in order to do that, make sure that you have Node installed. Our recommendation is to use npm. Okay, here my recommendation is, well, you can export it, but you can just restart your terminal to refresh your environment variables, and you can install nvm version 20. Any version above 18 should be fine. And finally, install globally the Scroll SDK tool. This, as I mentioned before, this is a tool that will help you founding accounts and running tests, and different tools that will be very helpful while running your DevNet. Okay, next you can check if everything was installed correctly, and just by running this command one by one. We can run it just so you can check if everything is fine on your end. This is, maybe I can do it like this. Docker, probably one by one. This is the Kubernetes. This is so you can check it on your local machine if you're using the same version as me, if you find any problem. Okay, so now we have one command, so this is so much better. Sorry about that. Okay, and so now we're going to set the amount of cores that will be needed on your local machine. So I think I have 10 cores in this virtualized machine, so 8 cores is fine. I think I don't have enough memory, but that's going to be okay. I'm going to give it 6.5 gigabytes. Next, we're going to add the current user to Docker. We will need this in order to install the Minikube, to start the Minikube. Okay, here you go. And while that is installing, I just want to show you my local resources so you can compare with your machine. Of course, usually you want to do this. You can also do this in an external server, in a virtualized external machine, or in your own machine to work locally and use all your resources. But as you can see, in this machine I have 10 cores and 9 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, we're going to wait for this to install. So I'm going to cut the video here. Now it's ready. Let's continue. Now we're going to enable ingress. And this can take a while to verify. But yeah, ingress is for the Kubernetes from they can interact with each other. You will need to install ingress, so make sure that this command works before continuing. So yeah, again, I'm going to cut the video here. Ingress was enabled, and finally we're also going to need to enable ingress DNS. There you go. So let's continue. Now we're going to check what is the IP address of our Minikube, which is this one. It's usually this one, but just check that it's the same one, because now you will need to put that IP address in every row here in your etc host. So let's go and edit that file. So at the end of there, just paste the following, and remember, make sure that your IP address matches your Minikube. There you go. Okay, now we are ready to install and download and install the SDK. Okay, so first you will need to, this may change by the time that you're watching this video, because right now the repo is private. So you need to log in to your GitHub account. So right here I have my private key, my private GitHub, my private GitHub key, which of course I'm going to delete it when this video is uploaded. And now you will need to log in. Just change your username here. Again, this may not be needed by the time that you are watching this video, because the repo may be public and the SDK should be announced by then. Next, we clone. Oh yeah, in this case I haven't set up my SSH key, so I may be using just HTTPS, which is fine. This is my username, and again I'm going to be using my okay, here you go. And this also, again, you will need to authenticate when this is live, because the repository will be public. And now we are ready to go and prepare all the configuration files. So the make bootstrap will create a new directory under the devnet folder, and that directory will be called Scroll SDK. And in there you can start configuring your yeah, you can configure a lot of things there before deploying your DevNet. So again, I'm going to cut the video here so you don't have to wait. Okay, here you go. Now that it finished, we are going to see how we can configure this specific file. Let's take a look. Nano on the Scroll SDK config.toml file here. As you can see, you can configure the addresses, who is going to be like your chain ID, your layer 1 chain ID, and yeah, your database connections. Yeah, you can configure also the addresses, the pre-compiles. Yeah, you can configure all of that. And the only configuration change that we're going to do is here. We're going to change the maximum transaction chunk by, yeah, we're just going to lower the required times to finalize transactions on layer 1, just to make it faster. Let me check if this is the recommended. This is what the engineering team recommended me. So yeah, this looks good. In this case, yeah, we're just going to make it faster. But as you can see, there's many things that you can configure here. Also, in the documentation, official documentation, you will be able to see all what you can configure, which is super cool. So if you change the config.toml file, you will need to run make config. So make sure to do that. And once that's ready, you can run make install. And this will start the SDK on your local machine. And remember, this will run a local Anvil layer 1 and the Scroll SDK settling on Anvil. So the Scroll SDK as the layer 2 will settle and finalize on the layer 1. So you will be running 2 blockchains here. So here you go. It looks like it all worked well. If you want to check that everything is working correctly, you can run the pods command. Let me check here. Kubernetes get pods. Here you go. So right now everything is pending, is being initialized. So this could take a couple of minutes, like I don't know, maybe 2 to 5 minutes. So we're going to wait. Also, I'm going to cut the video here and let's wait for it to finish deploying. Okay, now the SDK is running. Once you run again the kubectl get pods command, you should be able to something like this, like everything is running, everything is completed, so looking good. Next, there are a couple of commands that we'll need to run, starting by this one. This will open a new terminal, and go to the Scroll SDK newly created folder and fund some accounts. So this will fund some accounts that are needed for finalizing on layer 1, and also a very, very interesting command that you can run is the end-to-end test. So this will send some transactions. Do you want to fund this wallet? Yes. Okay, this will send some transactions, some dummy transactions back from layer 1 to layer 2. We'll deploy a token, launch it from an ERC20 token from layer 1 to layer 2, and then from layer 2 to layer 1, and see how it finalizes on layer 1. And yeah, I think this is very we'll bridge, and this is very cool because you can see like just to check if your chain is working correctly, if your chain is finalizing correctly on layer 1, and also this can help you like as a text, like as a code example, how to do all this process. Other cool command is this one. This will generate some activity, some dummy activity on your chain. So this will generate some transactions, basically like very empty transactions, random transactions on your layer 2, just to see, because on Scroll, as you know, on any layer 2, transactions get grouped into chunks and then get grouped into bundles, and those bundles are finalized on layer 1. So you need many transactions to see all this process. So here you can help. This can help you just just generate some dummy transactions. Okay. Other interesting command is this one. So we're going to open a new terminal, and here this will fund an account. So here in MetaMask I installed in my Firefox I installed the MetaMask extension, and we can just basically fund my account. So just paste your address here and fund it, and it will give you 0.1 ETH on layer 2. And in order to test it, we're going to add the Scroll chain to our MetaMask. So let's try that now. Add network manually. This is the SDK layer 2, and this is the chain ID, currency of ETH. Remember that you can also change it to a specific ERC20 token, which is very cool, and you save it. Now you can switch, and as you can see, I already have testnet ETH on my layer 2. Of course, you can now go to and deploy a contract. For example, we can go to the Open Zeppelin contract wizard and deploy a dummy ERC20 token. And let's try that out. It should work the same like as any other tool that you are familiarized with. So let's see, let's just mint some tokens. For example, 21 million token to the sender. And now we can just connect to MetaMask to the Scroll SDK layer 2 testnet, and basically just deploy the contract as it normally would. It will cost you a little bit of testnet gas, and there you go. This is our contract. It works perfectly the same as any other chain. Here, as you can see, my 21 million tokens, there you go, is working good. So next, what we want to do now is explore what comes out of the box from the web UI in the Scroll SDK. So we can go to frontends, HTTP frontends.scroll SDK, and this UI comes out of the box. You can connect to the rollup, but just remember that if you're using this specific frontend that is not using HTTPS, MetaMask won't want to connect because it will think that is not safe, which is fine. So that's why we connected manually like we did. But we have a bridge. In here you can bridge between the Scroll SDK layer 2 and our testnet, also blockchain later running locally with Anvil layer 1. We can withdraw, for example, some ETH back to layer 1, or also layer 1 to layer 2. So you can see, for example, if I want to withdraw some ETH, there you go, you can go bridge back and forth. And also you can look at the Rollup Explorer. Right now, since you will need some time to see all the batches, remember that all the transactions get grouped into batches, and then all the batches get finalized on layer 1. You will need some time to see your batches appearing here. But don't confuse the Rollup Explorer with the actual Chain Explorer. This is like the block scout, and all the transactions happening on the layer 1 and layer 2 will be visible here. All the new blocks being mined, will be visible here. And yeah, as you know, all of these are charts, so you can take this as example. For example, if you want to integrate something new, you can also integrate a new chart with Helm that offers new functionalities. And yeah, everything is customizable out of the box. And I want to show you something nice. If you want to, there's also an admin interface. The admin system dashboards, so you go to HTTP, the admin system dashboards, and the password is admin. If you want to access it, you can scan it from your Authenticator app on your phone and type, for example, for me, I'm scanning it right now, and now I'm inputting my code. Just go again and input it again, and then you will be able to see this panel, and in here you will be able to see all the batches and the bundles once they are getting finalized. Yeah, basically all the transactions. So you can see there are no transactions, no bundle finalized. So in order to see that and other couple of things that I want to show before ending the video, we're going to wait for just going to wait for some transactions to finish and some bundles to finish. So I'm going to cut the video now. I waited some time here, as you can see, and just a batch finalized on layer 1. So you will be able to see that, of course, on the admin, the finalized batch, as long as everything else. And also you will be able to see the end-to-end test completed successfully. So remember the end-to-end test that we run before, send a transaction from layer 1 to layer 2 to layer 2 to layer 1. So this means that everything is working correctly. Transactions are being finalized. And remember that Scroll is a CK EVM, which means that you need a CK proof to finalize the transactions on layer 1. But for this specific DevNet, like any proof would be, like any 0.0000 proof would be considered valid, just so you as a developer don't have to run a prover just to check if everything is working correctly. If you do want to run a prover, remember that you will find more information about that in the documentation. Also, you can outsource proofs, basically give a Sindri so the capabilities of running the proof for you. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Refer to the documentation always, since this will be like we will have a lot of improvements and more guides soon. And thanks for watching.